Hi, how are you today? Are you having a wonderful day? I am. I hope you are too. Okay, so I have a new book for you. It's called The Baby That Roared. So let's go ahead and read this book today. Mr. and Mrs. Deer had no baby of their own to love and cuddle and read stories to. But oh, how they wished they did. Look, they're at the park and they're watching all the other kids, but they don't have any of their own. Then one day they found a bundle on the doorstep. The bundle had a note attached which said, I am a dear little baby. Please love me and cuddle me and read me lots and lots of stories. Look, kids, see, that's their house, and somebody left them a baby. I'm sure they're so excited. That baby looks peculiar to me. All babies are beautiful. Mrs. Deer picked it up and cuddled it at once. Then she popped it into the laundry basket, which was just about the right size for a bed. But no sooner had she put the baby down than it let out a great big roar. It's going roar. Can you do that? Go roar. I think it's hungry, said Mr. Deer. Babies usually are. But the baby didn't want cheese, and the baby didn't want toast, and the baby didn't want cabbage or cucumbers or cauliflower. What did the baby want to eat? What do you think the baby wanted to eat? We must get Uncle Duncan, said Mrs. Deer. He's bound to know. A baby, a dear little baby? I shall come at once. There's the uncle. He looks like a wise owl. He's going to come at once. Babies need milk, said Uncle Duncan. You must warm some up immediately. But when Mr. and Mrs. Deer came back, how very peculiar. Uncle Duncan had disappeared and the baby was still roaring. Look at that baby roaring now. Ugh, what's that smell? Ew, said Mr. Deer. I think this baby needs changing. We must ask Auntie Agnes. She generally knows what's what. A baby, a dear little baby. I shall come at once. See, there's Aunt Agnes. Diapers, said Auntie Agnes, and clean towels and special ointment too. Now run along and fetch them quick as you can. But when Mr. and Mrs. Deer came back, how very peculiar. Auntie Agnes had disappeared and the baby was still roaring. Oh, poor little baby, said Mr. Deer. Whatever shall we do? Perhaps, said Mrs. Deer, it isn't feeling very well. We must call Dr. Fox to come and take a look. See, the baby is still going, roar. Poor baby. A baby? A dear little baby? I shall come at once, said the doctor. I shall need peace and quiet to examine the baby. Now run along, you two, and leave everything to me. Mr. and Mrs. Deer ran along and waited and waited and waited. Roar, roar, roar. The baby kept roaring. But the baby went on roaring. They had to know what was happening, so they tiptoed in, and how very peculiar. Dr. Fox had disappeared, and the baby was still roaring. Look, it's still roaring. That poor baby. Oh no, Mrs. Deer, said Mrs. Deer. What shall we do now? Granny Bear, said Mr. Deer, will know exactly what to do. Granny Bear came at once. She took one look at the poor little dear little roaring, roaring baby and said, I know exactly what to do. This baby needs burping. And she picked up the baby and patted it and patted it and patted it. See, Grandma Bear's patting the baby. So she kept patting it until the baby burped. It was really very peculiar. Out came Uncle Duncan, and out came Auntie Agnes, and out came Dr. Fox too. And none of them looked the least bit pleased. That baby burped up all these people. That baby ate all these people. That's not a dear little baby, cried Granny Bear. That's a little monster. See, it's a monster. Monsters eat people. And it was two then. It took to its heels and ran away, and they never, ever saw it again. As for Mr. and Mrs. Deer, well, they found themselves a sweet little kitten to love instead. A sweet little kitten. Sometimes you need to be careful what you wish for. And that's the end of the book. I hope you enjoyed it. Bye-bye. Love you. See you next time.